And like the company's family of quality motor oils headed by Equiflow, the all-season motor oil, Diamond Shamrock is proud of the folks who serve you under the Diamond Shamrock sign. They're your kind of folks. We know you'll want to express your thanks to them for this broadcast when you stop in at a Diamond Shamrock station. So stop in soon. Your visit will be appreciated.
The Scots and the Tigers, Highland Park and Conroe. From
number 8, he's along with Keith Sneed, and also let's take a look. It looks like we have Shelby Lewis. So they're ready to about tee this game up. It ought to be a dandy. We've had 3 games played earlier today. This is the 4th piece of the puzzle to advance to semifinal action next week, Brad.
To set the scene in your mind's eye, the Highland Park Scots will kick it away from our right to our left to open things up. The left-footed sidewinder, Wayne Clements, approaches a line drive kick. It is fielded by Tolbert, bobbled by Tolbert at the 15, retracts, retrieves the football, is hemmed in at the 19, dropped at the 20-yard line.
He has 14 receptions for 300 yards and 3 TDs on the year. We've got a little momentary pause on the action as the officials call a timeout. We'll see what the far side, their head linesman over there is Mr. Roland Childress.
And 3 per ball game defensively, the Conroe Tigers, 8.1 point per ball game. Here's David White and the offensive crew for the Conroe Tigers. They work from their own 20. Pitch it to Sneed, running wide to the left side, has the corner, has the 20-25, out to the 30, bulldogged out of bounds across the way at the 39-yard line. James Escobar.
Conroe, Highland Park gambled, sent a linebacker. They've got wide on him, picks up big yardage, first down.
Twin tight ends, a wing back Sneed to the right side, pitch it in the backfield, running is Tolbert back to the line of scrimmage, and that is in the middle, flanked by Trip Wood and Brady Giddens. Steve Davis, along with Matt Johnston, operate from the cornerbacks. Escobar and Brandon Williams, the defensive safeties. Second down long, running wide, right side, tripped up and dropped in the backfield at the 45-yard line. From their own 35-yard line, we'll look for David White, their quarterback, to pump it up. Go upstairs with it. Sneed wide to the right side. Wide to the left side is Scaife, dropping to throw. White skips out of a tackle, has pressure, is dropped in his backfield. No, on his way down, flips it to Tolbert. In the backfield, Tyke Tolbert to the 40, 45, 50, Highland Park territory, strung down at the 40-yard line. Scotty Terra.
Ball away, big yardage, and it looks like Conroe is on the roll early.
Defensive corner Steve Davis able to race across and make the stop. 1st and 10, Tigers from the Scott 39. Here's White rolling to the right side, looking to throw, shoots it over the middle, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver from Trip Wood. A pass that maybe should have been caught.
Well, Dozier.
Tiger offense throwing the football. Quarterback White on the year has passed for 1,152 yards. 2nd and 10, Scott 39-yard line. Wing right, wing Keith Sneed in the backfield, turns the corner across the way, inside the 35, bumped out of bounds inside.
Last week for 95 yards against Plano East.
Big man Mountain, Jay Jenkins out over the football, ducking in under quarterback White. Tigers look at sidelines, left open field to the right side. Quick hitter out of the backfield, across the 23-yard line. Scotty territory. Scaife wide to the right side, the wide side of the field. Freeney along with Sneed in the backfield. Pitch it to Sneed, running wide left, the short side of the field.
8.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Freeney along with Tolbert in the backfield. Sneed on a wing to the right side. 2 tight ends, reverse spin. White in the backfield, rolls right, wants to throw, fires over the middle, has his man Sneed inside the 20, make it Freeney on the reception, driven down at the 15-yard line.
Ball game. Once again, dumping to the back out of the backfield. That time is Big Freeney. He took it.
Receiver Freeney and pick up the first down. Here's the Tigers over the football. They are stalking these Highland Park Scots early in this one. White pitch, Sneed running wide left, has a blocker in front, turns the corner inside the 10, shakes a tackle at the 8-yard line inside the 5.
But 2nd and a few inches inside Highland Park's 5.
Tigers at the lip of the cup, about to fall in. Twin wing backs, now Tolbert in motion from left to right, inside hand, Big Freeney with the football. Schmidt. First down, goal to goal at the 3-yard line. Junior Jay Jenkins out over the football, bending in. Quarterback David White. Freeney in the backfield along with Tolbert. White will keep a thicker oil for high-speed heat. First down, goal to go. Conroe from the Scott 8-yard line. Quarterback White. The snap. Tosses in the backfield. Tolbert running wide right is strung out line. Highland Park territory. Tigers look at sidelines right, open field to the left side. Burke split wide right, wing to the left side. Pitch sweep, Sneed running wide left. Has some trouble in the backfield, shakes out of a tackle, is pinned down at his 8-yard line. Loss of 3. David White completion to Keith Sneed for the scoring strike. We'll see if they go upstairs in that direction. 3rd and 8 over the football. The Tigers from the 8-yard line. White drops to throw, has Tobert in the end zone for the touchdown. Tyke Tobert all alone on the near side.
Let's see if Shoemaker can add the point after.
The son of the head coach, Jimmy Barber, will hold. Kelly Holmes to snap. Shoemaker to kick the PAT. It's on the way. 7. The Highlands Park Scots nothing. We'll return in a moment. Tigers will kick off from our left to right. Shoemaker out on the field counting members of his Tiger kickoff team. This Highland Park Scot Club down by a 7-0 count. We'll see how Frank Beavers and his crew plays from behind. Cox along with Esquivel deep for the Scots. The kick is a end-over-ender fielded by Byron Cox. 15-yard line, has a crease across the 20, 25, buried at the 27-yard line. Byron Knoll, James Knoll, who opens up. In fact, the Scots will show 2 tight ends. 1st and 10, they work from their own 28-yard line. Motion from right to left out of McCullough, the flanker. Reverse spin, Stalin work, will pitch, has Knoll running wide right, has the corner. 30-35, Bulldog out of bounds,
30-60, tosses the football. He's reading the defensive end. If he closes, he pitches. If he strings out, he keeps the football. That time a good pitch, a good run, and it's 2nd and short.
Split Clements right, flank McCullough wide to the left side. Tandem in the backfield. Quarterback Stallenwork sets his Scots down. They work from the 38-yard line. Stallenwork, the left-hander, drops to throw, dances, rolls to the left side, will pull the ball down and run with it. 40, out of bounds at the 41-yard line. And Conroe on top of it. Scots will look at the sidelines to the left, the open side of the field to the right side. 4-3 defense is shown by the Conroe Tigers. 1st and 10 play on the way. Inside hand, Lynn Waters with the football to the 43-yard. Big tackle Donald Campbell on the stop for the Tigers.
He had a touchdown versus Plano, though, in the area ball game 2 weeks ago.
The Waters carry out to the 44-yard line. 2nd and 7, Highland Park. Motion from Clements in front of the backfield from left to right. Stallenwork barks to count, reverses out, pitches to Knoll, running right, has a block, turns the Scots under head man Frank Beavers recorded his 100th victory in 11 years at Highland Park last week with a 14-13 regional win over the Bryan Vikings. From midfield, 3rd down, a yard to go. Highland Park out over the football. Quarterback Stallenwork with the cadence. Fakes to the first man through. Will keep on the option, sliding off a left tackle, driving it in 47-yard line in Tiger territory.
Of course, the Veer offense, it's an option offense, and that time Stallenwork read his key right and just ducked under for a quick yardage. Big blocks by McMartin and Williamson on the right side for the Scotties.
Highland Park will flank Wayne Clements wide left. That's the open side of the field. 5-2 defensive look shown by the Tigers out of Conroe High School. 1st and 10 play on the way. First man through over left guard. Waters picks his way to the 45, maybe the 44-yard line.
Fumble recoveries.
2nd down, 8 yards to go from the 45-yard line in Tiger territory. Lynn Waters, James Knoll, the setbacks behind quarterback Stallenwork. McCullough in motion from right to left in front of the backs. Stallenwork, early pitch. Knoll running left, has pursuit. It finally catches up to him, and he has used Diamond Shamrocks, or locally blended gasolines. Stallenwork sends McCullough to the left side. Clements wide to the right side. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. They work from the 45-yard line, Conroe Tiger territory. Stallenwork drops to throw, has the screen set up, has Knoll, 45, 40, has a crease inside the 35, knocked down at the 30. His father, his grandfather, both played for Highland Park, both quarterbacked the SMU Mustangs. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Lance Reynolds, the defensive linebacker on the previous tackle. Stallenwork drops to throw, left-handed heave across the way, has his man McCullough inside the 20, bounced out of bounds at the 19-yard line by first period. Clock rests 2:46, 7-0, Conroe on top of it. Waters along with Knoll, the setbacks behind quarterback Stallenwork, shows 2 tight ends, flanker wide left, the open side of the field. Hunkering down defensively, the Conroe Tigers with a 5-2 look, long count at the line. Option far side give, first man through. Knoll pounds inside the 15 to the far along with Matt McCartan, the tackle, and tight.
Puts it in on a 14-play drive. Highland Park now about to take stat number 11.
And we said this one would be a defensive battle. 2 tight ends, flanker right side, the short side of the field. Split backs behind Stallenwork. We'll give it away. Waters over right guard performance. Clock rolls, 1:40 left to play, first period. 3rd and 4. Scots work from the Tiger 13-yard line. Wing right, motion out of the wing. Clements from right to left in front of the backs. Stallenwork veers to the right side, keeps it, turns it up off tackles, fights his way inside the 10 to the 8, maybe the... Stallenwork carries for the Highland Park 1st and goal.
5th first down of the inning by Highland Park. They've had the clock in the first quarter. Conroe 7, Highland Park 0.
Doug Barnes, 220-pound senior, leads the Scots out of the huddle, out over the football, bending in. Quarterback Stallenwork, a minute 16, first period. Scots look at sidelines, right open field to the left side. They will veer right. Stallenwork keeps, skips out of a tackle at the 6, drives it to the 3, still on his feet to the 2-yard line before a wave of white shirt drives him back. Pressure had a tremendous season a year ago as a junior, leading this Highland Park Scott club 11-2 into this quarterfinal matchup. 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. First man through, Waters at the 1. Waters in for the Scott touchdown. Lynn Waters over right guard.
Starter. They opened a hole at 7-6, and Highland Park's just a point after away from a tie ball game.
165-pound senior Wayne Clements is on. He'll try to tack on the point after. 7-6. Conroe leads it. The kick is up. The kick is good. Keep us in tune with the numbers. Waters to kick it away to Sneed, Jacks, and Tolbert. Trio deployed by the Tigers out of Conroe. The approach, the left-footed kick, high. It is long, fielded by Tolbert at the 1-yard line. Out to the 5, Tolbert to the 10, veers middle of the field to his left, breaks a tackle at the 15, has a crease 25, still on his feet, 35, knocked down from behind.
15-14.
19 seconds left to play. Kickoff quarter, Texas Stadium tied 7 aside.
And of course, tonight's winner plays Odessa Permian next week.
David White, quarterback, and his offensive crew out over the football. They work 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line. Inside hand, Freeney powers, has a big hole across the 45 to mid contest. Here's the Tigers out of Conroe over the football. 1st and 10, Scott territory, 48-yard line. Quarterback White marks the count, pitches in the backfield. Tolbert has an alley inside the 45. Conroe's Tigers against the Scots out of Highland Park. Here's the Tigers out over the football, 47-yard line. Clock rolls inside 11:50. 1st and 15. Trap play for the wingback Sneed out to midfield. That's it. Keith Sneed on the carry. Brian Owen, defensive end, on the 3.5, maybe 4. Greg Burks split wide to the left side, the wide side of the field. Sneed in a wing to the left side. Tandem in the backfield behind quarterback White, the lanky right-hander. Quick drop, wants to throw. Plants has his man over the middle inside the 45. Ridden down as Dozier, the big tight end by linebacker Tripp. At 4 of 9, 3 interception. The 4 completions good for 122 yards. 3rd and 4, Highland Park 42-yard line. Tigers in possession of the football. Reverse spin, White drops to throw, has protection, looks, fires over the middle, incomplete, intended for Dozier, 17-yard line, Scott territory, and Dozier really took a rap from James
tonight.
Tigers is Larrick French, 35-yard average on 50 punts. Nice pass from center. French will get the kick away, tries to angle it across the way to the far sideline. The fair catch is called for by Williams, executed at the 16.
Motor oils for newer cars is Diamond Shamrock's premium quality Equiflow motor oil. Year-round protection in a golden colored can at Diamond Shamrock stations.
From the 16-yard line in Scotty territory, they work 1st down, 10 yards to go. Stallenwork rolls right, will keep, turns it up, has a crease, 20-25. John Stallenwork to the 27-yard line, 195-pounder. Scott's 1st and 10 play on the way from their own 27-yard line. Flanker left, split in wide to the right side. Waters along with Null in the backfield. Quick drop, the left-hander. Stallenwork throws on the out route over the top of intended receiver Wayne Clements at the 40 mark, period number 2. 7 and 7 were tied, Highland Park and Conroe. Gills, Vesparelli, Campbell, Westergren, and Freeney. 5-man front shown by the Conroe Tigers. 2 tight ends, flanker wide to the left side for Highland Park, over left guard. Powell driving with the football is running back Lynn Waters to the 30-yard line, pick up a 3, stacked up inside by line, making a middle guard Mark Gills, 240-pound senior. He's a return guard and center, really locking horns inside. 3rd down, 8, 30-yard line, Scott territory. 2 tight ends, a flanker left is Clements. Stallenwork drops to throw, has a time of plenty, looks off his primary receiver, tries to find Null at the 35-yard line, nearly picked off by Lapham, the line.
Lucky it was not a turnover.
Wayne Clements, 40-yard average. Snap from center, very nicely handled. The kick away off the left foot of Clements. Touches down at the 40, fielded by Tolbert at the 37-yard line, is hemmed in and dropped immediately. Front for Highland Park defensively, the tackles Nash and Behan, in Schmidt and Owen, C. Giddens and Wood, a linebacking core. Here's the Tigers from their own 34-yard line. White fakes to the first man through, drops the throw, is wrapped up and dropped at the 25-yard line. We have penalty markers down. Really penetrating nicely was blitzing middle linebacker George. Illegal shift, the infraction declined by Highland Park. The loss from the 34 to the 25-yard line. Second down, call it 19 yards for the Tigers to achieve the first. They send wide outs to right and left. Across the way to the far side. Right side is Scaife. To the near side is Burks. Wing backs in tight, right and left on the draw play. Placide gets the hand, nothing doing. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Brian Owen, along with defensive tackle Fred B.
This is Pesh. Hey, but that White 4-6 for 52 yards. He has 2 wide outs. Brad, let's see if he'll go upstairs. Dangerous territory.
Dozier right, Burks to the left side. White drops to throw, rolls left, now pulls up, plants, has pressure, is dropped. 27-yard line. Brian Owen, defensive end for the Highland Park Scots, able to penetrate, put some pressure on White, force him out of the pocket, able to race him down and make well. Williams, the up back, stand at the 40-yard line. Steve Davis stands at his own 31 for Highland Park. French gets a nice high nose-up spiraling kick, fielded by Esquivel. Fair catch called for, and Esquivel back handling the punting chores. Turned to French, and he's done a pretty good job for him. 7-7, 7:26 left to play first half. Highland Park's offense on the field. They operate from their own 35-yard line. Waters along with Knoll. The setbacks behind Stallenwork will pitch early. Knoll running wide right, gets a block from Waters, turns the corner across the 40. Knifed it down out of bounds at the 43.
Holding versus Highland Park. So mark out the fine gain by Nolan, that fine block by Waters. As you mentioned, Waters he's a key part to this Veer offense. You have to have a lead man to cut down interference, and he sure is doing the job. But let's
11 weighs 180. Wayne Clements tight on the right side. Robertson tight on the left side. Flanker to the same side of the field is McCullough. James Knoll in Waters. Tandem setbacks behind Stallenwork. 1st and 15 from the Scott 30-yard line. Quick drop, quick throw, far sideline, way over the head of intended receiver.
He's 2 out of 5. He hit it.
Both ball clubs able to score in the first period. Tigers on an 80-yard drive. Scots on a 72-yard drive. 2nd and 15 from the 30-yard line. Scots look at sidelines right, open field to the left side. On the delay, the give is to Knoll to the line of scrimmage. Maybe it has a yard. 31 yard. 3rd and 14. Clock rolls 6:50 until intermission. Stallenwork shows 2 tight ends with his offense. Flanker McCullough wide left, the wide side of the field. Will option, left side, hands, first man through, powering across the 35 to the 38-yard line is Lynn Waters. 180-pound junior, the linebacker. Here's Clements, quick snap, quick kick, high, wobbly, shimmering spiral, over the shoulder grab made by Jacks at the 12-yard line, runs east and west, make it east, at the 10, after the 15, is hit hard, fumble flies loose, on the football at the 10-yard line. Well, let's see who's got it. They'll unstack the mass of humanity at the Tiger 10-yard line. And Highland Park Scots say they have the football. No official indication as of yet. Punt cover team really put a hat on the football and separated it from a return man, Jacks. 1st and 10 play, 10-yard line, Tiger territory. Stallenwork and his Scots will see if they go for the home run ball early. No option near side, reversing field. Stallenwork in trouble, fires into the end zone over the head of the intended receiver. Over the head, penalty. Stallenwork really had to scramble to buy time before he could get rid of the thing.
Brett, looks like to me the umpire threw the flag, and every time you see that, it's usually an ineligible receiver downfield, and that's what Bill Miller tells us. Ineligible receiver downfield. That'll be a long, could pick up a first down without scoring.
Just inside the 1-yard line, halfway mark, period number 2. 7 and 7 were tied, first down, 15 yards to go. The Scotties work from just outside the Tiger 15-yard line. Stallenwork, pitch it to Knoll, gets a block from Waters, running wide right, turns it up inside the 15, bumped out of bounds by Jacks at the 10.
Ground in a hurry. No, looked like he had the sideline again, Brad, but Jacks really Conroe 10-yard line.
Let's take a look at what the Frank Beavers coach the Scots have in their offensive arsenal. 3rd and 10. McCullough, wide left, now in motion from left to right in front of the backs. Reverse spin, stalling work, option far side, has some pressures. Jersey down at the 14-yard line. Ed Freeney, defensive end, really penetrating very nicely, reading the play. On the bye district, 44 yards versus Plano in the area. We'll kick this from the 20-yard line. 30-yard attempt, spots down. The kick is up, and Wayne Clements is good from 30 yards. 5 minutes, 19 seconds.
A longer life and maximum performance with Diamond Shamrock.
Jax Tolbert, and also standing back in the trio for the Conroe Tigers is Shelby Lewis. There's the approach. The kick is on the ground. Squirming inside the 30, big hop fielded by, make it Keith Snead at the 15. Has a crease to the 20, follows the wedge to the 25, 30, knocked down at the 33-yard line. Snead on the return, 1st and 10 from the Tiger 33-yard.
Try to ground out the clock.
White with Freeney along with Tolbert in the backfield. Snead on a wing to the right side. Inside hand, first man through. Placide out of the backfield across the 35, driven down at the 37-yard. Vihon, Nash, linebackers, Seawood, Giddens, Davis, and Johnston operate from the corners. Williams, Esquivel, the defensive safeties for Highland Park. Tolbert off a left tackle, squirts across the 39 to the 40-yard line. Tigers out, checking in is Bobby Brennan. Tigers send Burks wide left, the wide side of the field. Split backs behind quarterback White. They work from their own 40-yard line. White wants to throw. Pump fakes, is drilled and dropped for a loss to the 37. Kick it away for the Conroe Tigers. French will take the snap at the 22, touch the football off from around the 25-yard line. Helmet high snap. French gets the kick away, a nose-up spiral. Rather short, touches down. Highland Park 35-yard line, takes a big Tiger bounce inside the 30, inside the 25, inside the 20, finally rolls to a halt at the 15.
And Burks couldn't have a chance to even run a pattern.
11-2 on the year. Highland Park takes possession. Working defensively, the Conroe Tigers. They've won 10 and lost 3. Coming into this, the quarterfinals. Stalin work the quarter, will keep rolling wide to the right side, turns it up, bumped out of bounds, 18, make it the 17-yard line. Scott territory. Lance Reynolds, a linebacker. May see Robert Reed, also playing some quarterback for Highland Park in past ball games. Clay Sumner really, I think, is the backup. Stalin works down. Highland Park with possession of the football, their own 17-yard line.
Stalin works up off his own power, and coming in at quarterback will be Champ Sumner. Brad, he's a 6-foot, 160-pound junior, and tell you what, he's got a burden on his shoulders now.
You may to play football. Highland Park out over at their own 17-yard line. 2nd down, 7 yards to go. Sumner in the ball game at quarterback. Waters along with Null. Tandem in the backfield. McCullough flanks wide to the right side. Football spotted equidistant between the sidelines. Inside hand, powering across the 20-yard line. Running back Lynn Waters.
Short pickup, 3rd down and 4, facing the Scottish ball just outside their 20.
Barnes, Smith, Turner, Williamson, McCartan across the front for Highland Park. Sumner bends in on the quarterback keeper, cracks it out over left guard to the 24, may be able to extend to his own 25, kick it away to Lewis along with Bubba Jax. They stand at their own 40-yard line. Nice pass from center. Clements gets a kick away. It's a shimmering spiral, pretty deep, fielded by Jax, his own 30-yard line. 2 steps to the 35, cut down at the 37. Tiger territory. Conroe out over the football. Jay Jenkins bending over, will snap it to quarterback White. 2:17 left to play. Pitch sweep, running right. Tolbert plants, wants to throw over the head of the intended receiver, 47-yard line, Highland Park territory. It was Keith Snead, the junior, out of the wing back. Scaife wide left. Wing to the right side is Keith Snead. Placide, Tolbert in the backfield. On the reverse, Tolbert hands it away to Snead, running left, cuts against the grain, 40-45. Keith Snead out to the 50-yard line.
Conroe and White may try to put the ball up, Brad. They only have 1 timeout remaining in the first half, and the clock's running.
Split left is Burks. Snead, wing right. Tolbert with the pitch in the backfield, cuts it off a right tackle inside Highland Park territory, knocked down at the 47, rolls. 2nd period, 10-7, Highland Park on top of it. Been a good ball game.
Of course, Mike Barber, the head coach, the offensive coordinator for this fine Conroe Tiger team is Dave Smith. He's calling those offensive plays, and it's 2nd 8 Conroe in Highland Park territory.
Ducking in under quarterback White. Back pedals to throw. Near flat. Has Tolbert. 50-45. Has a crease 35. 30-yard line. Bump down at the 27-yard line. Three-man tackle led by Tripwood. Matt Johnston also in there, along with defensive tackle
Call. Highland Park was blitzing, both on top by a score of 10-7. That injured Scotty Brad. Conroe driving, 1st and 10 at the Scotty 28.
David White sets his offensive crew down, bends in under center, and barks to count. Reverse spin. White rolls right, wants to throw, plants, throws, across the way, incomplete, over the head of intended receiver. Center Jay Jenkins, 195-pound junior, out over the football. Tigers set up the offense, 27-yard line, Scott territory, 46 seconds left to play. White drops to throw, has his man inside the 20, knocked down at the 16-yarders. 15-yard line, Highland Park territory, 29 seconds left to play first half. White rolls right, has time, still with the football, knocked down, sacked from behind by Brian Owen across the 24-yard line, Scott territory, 9-yard loss by the Conroe Tigers. 10-7, Highland Park leads it from the 24. White takes the snap, overthrows Scaife on the near sideline, and time has expired.
Pleased to welcome into our Diamond Shamrock booth with us Mr. Tom Monroe, the principal of Highland Park. Tom, welcome aboard. You've got your band on the field, your ball club's up top by 3. Everything's going right so far.
This is a beautiful night for a ball game, and couldn't be any better.
Let's talk about Highland Park. We just had Conroe on just a burgeoning suburb out of Houston, and we've got Highland Park, old Dallas, inner city Dallas. A lot of contrast here.
That's true. Highland Park actually has a lot of characteristics of a very small town. It was a suburb and swallowed up many, many years ago by Dallas. Dallas has extended miles past the northern border of Highland Park. We have retained our own school system. We've retained our own mayor, city government, police departments, etc. Actually, the Highland Park system serves 2 cities, the city of University Park, which is the northern tier, and includes SMU on the east, and then Highland Park, which is the southern part of the district.
You talk about it being like a small town. We've seen the community involvement. Enlighten us about the yellow trash bags.
Well, we had, of course, a lot of excitement in the community because of the success of the Scots this year on the football field. And someone tried to figure out an easy way for everybody to show their support and started tying yellow ribbons around trees and ended up tying yellow banners made of yellow trash bags. And so we have those by the hundreds all over town, and it's a good show of solidarity and support.
You've been at Highland Park since 1962, a long time.
Right.
And let's talk about your background, how you've made the rank up to principal. Must be a tremendous job.
Well, of course, I started out in Highland Park and really have not been in any other school system, so I'm rather spoiled. But anytime I go away, whether it be in the state or out of the state, and visit other school systems, I'm very proud to come back to Highland Park. Started as a teacher, assistant principal, elementary principal, and then this is my 3rd year as principal at Highland Park High School.
We were talking with Athletic Director of Conroe just moments ago, Don Newsom, and about the new educational reforms this past summer. That's from the athletic area, where he has to more or less govern the entire area, whether it be volleyball or swimming or a football game, as we're seeing tonight. Now, from the principal standpoint, can you tell us how it's affected you this year?
Well, of course, House Bill 72, as well as House Bill 246, has laid down a myriad of different reforms and rules. We're in favor of anything that's going to raise excellence in education. Highland Park, we feel, has had a long-standing reputation for academic excellence. So we're in favor of anything that will emphasize and improve and make realistic positive gains in education. Right now, some people are kind of working with the implementation of some of these changes. We are too. We really have no big problems at Highland Park. For instance, our graduation requirements meet or exceed the graduation requirements laid down or increased. We have in the past always had high expectations for our athletes in terms of eligibility. In fact, we had asked them to have even higher averages than what the UIL required. But now, of course, it is rather strict in terms of the eligibility, and so what we're seeing is that coaches and students and academic classroom teachers are working a lot more closely together.
And of course, that has to affect your relationship directly with the coaches as well, because you always hear once or twice during the course of a season about the ineligible player that slips up through the ranks some way.
Well, the best of intentions sometimes that would happen. However, the vast majority of the time we're seeing, of course, coaches that are encouraging their athletes to be good students in the classroom, and the teachers being interested in the students' extracurricular activities too. I think that we're very fortunate at Highland Park to have a superior coaching staff, and again, they've had a long history of supporting and expecting their athletes to be students.
And of course, as you say, your coaching staff, Frank Beavers, since he's been here at Highland Park for the past 10+ years, he's helped really turn this program back around to where it once was, hasn't he?
He really has, and of course we've been in the playoffs since 1980, I believe. Frank won his 100th game last week, and he has an outstanding record. But of course, when you look at the success of a team, it of course is a coaching team also, and he has excellent support with his varsity coaches and other coaches all the way up through the program.
Well, also I understand, Tom, and you talk to coaches, successful coaches throughout the state, whether it be Mike Barber on the opposite side of the field with Conroe or Frank Beavers,
right,
that it's not so much those wins and losses, it's the ideals and the principles they instill upon these young men.
Well, our coaches, of course, obviously get the students to set goals for themselves, personal goals, as well as the goal of winning the ball game. But I think that I've seen many times all of our coaches, they will get just as upset with a student if they do not put out 100% effort, no matter what the score on the scoreboard is. And of course, that's a lesson that athletics teaches all athletes. If they can learn to try their very, very best and be satisfied with that effort, then that goes a long way.
Looks like you've got a good turnout tonight. Immediately below us, a lot of blue and gold.
We have had tremendous support. Of course, this is our third weekend in a row in Texas Stadium, and we have tremendous parent support. I mentioned earlier how we have the small town effect. We have many parents that no longer have students in high school that attend every single game. We have ex-students that come back. So we have a loyal following.
One final question before we let you go. You're up 10-7 at the half. A win next week would put you against Odessa Permian. And from what we understand, Tom, it looks like the game may be played out West Texas.
Yes, I believe there's a rule that says since we met Permian in the playoffs and we played here in Texas Stadium, that we would be traveling for this game. So the athletic director and coaches will work out the details of that, and believe we will be playing in West Texas. Hopefully we can hang on to this lead here.
Well, I was about to say, I'm sure you don't want to be presumptuous, but you'd like to get your bags packed already.
Well, we feel like that we can compete, and so we're hoping to play one more weekend at least.
Tom Monroe, the principal of Highland Park High School, we appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mickey.
We'll be back with more halftime activity right after this break to identify our sponsors. Get way to buy Diamond Shamrock gasolines, diesel fuel, and other branded products. So stop in at your nearby station and fill out a Diamond Shamrock credit card application form today. Then, when it's approved, you can give your wallet a real treat. Get your application today. Such as this game offer opportunities to teach proper attitudes and ideals to youngsters. Practicing good sportsmanship in contests develops traits that will serve youth well throughout life. The actions of spectators and team boosters have a definite influence on high school students. It is important that we display proper attitudes, win or lose. Good sportsmanship is one of the goals of the University Interscholastic League, and Diamond Shamrock salutes the league's ideals.
Three-point thread in this one between the halves. The Highland Park Scots 10, the Conroe Tigers 7. Taking a look at individual statistics through 2 quarters. Rushing the football, the Highland Park Scots have been paced by quarterback John Stallenworth along with James Knoll. Stallenworth with 28 yards on 8 carries. Knoll with the same 28 yards on 6 carries. Lynn Waters out of the backfield, 6 carries for 23 yards. Surprised we have not seen the appearance of junior running back Josh Theodore in the first half of play for the Highland Park Scots. We gave him the drumsticks last week after a 101-yard rushing performance against the Bryan Vikings. Rushing the football for the Conroe Tigers, they have been led by Keith Sneed, their wingback, 51 yards on 7 carries. Also Ed Freeney with 3 carries for 19 yards. Tyke Tolbert's pretty well been plugged up tonight. Their leading rusher coming into this one has only 4 yards on 5 carries in the first half, and quarterback David
Clements is teeing the ball up. Highland Park kicking right to left in the 3rd quarter of play, leading by a score of 10-7. We said earlier before the game it would be defense or turnovers. Well, it was offense in the 1st quarter, defense the 2nd quarter, but the 1 turnover is the difference in the ball game, Brad.
3 deep for the Conroe Tigers. In the middle, Keith Sneed, flanked by Bubba Jacks along with Tyke Tolbert. Just about set to go. Highland Park, dressed in the navy blue jersey and gold pants, to kick it off from our right to left. Line drive kick, touches down, 17-yard line. Tiger territory inside the 5, rolls into the end zone, is touchdown. Read it, 10-7 Highland Park leads at first play, 3rd period underway. Tigers pitch it to Sneed, running left, turns the corner, has an alley 25 out to the 32, 35.
Tolbert in the backfield along with Sneed and Freeney.
Full house in the backfield, pitch sweep, running wide to the right side is Tolbert across the 35, drives it out to the 38, maybe the 39-yard line. Tyke Tolbert of Conroe on the
Constant corners, Esquivel and Williams at safeties.
Here's a wishbone look in the backfield, 2nd and 5 from the 40-yard line, inside hand. Freeney, the fullback, nothing doing between the guards. Fred Vihon, 5'11", 205-pound senior, a tackle along with Nash, the other defensive tackle, pinching inside, making the play defensively.
Lining up behind our quarterback, it didn't fool anyone.
Sure enough, here it is again, wishbone look. Sneed and Tolbert at the halfbacks. Fullback is Freeney, pitch sweep, wide left. Sneed with the football across the 40, driven down at the 42-yard line, short by 3 yards of that needed for the first down. Linebacker Tripwood from the weak side on the stop. Doing the long snapping is Kelly Holmes, moves over from an offensive guard. French to kick it away. Short hop fielded by French, gets the kick away. A nose-up spiral, fair catch called for, true to his word at the 18-yard line. Steve Davis of Highland Park.
The 38-yard kick, hang time 4 seconds. Stalin works at quarterback.
Clements wide left, split to the right side. Mike McCullough over the football. Barnes the center. Late breaking draw play. The hand is to Knoll. The gain to the 21-yard line. Pick up a 3. Modest gain from running back Reynolds, the linebackers. At the corners, Driscoll and Lewis. The safeties, Tim Kelly along with Bubba Jacks. 2nd down, a long 7 yards to go. Highland Park works from their own 21. Dropping to throw, Stallenworth has a man near flat. McCullough, 28, 29-yard line in Scott territory. Going to be close to the first down. Let's check the period. 9:18 left to play in the frame. Robertson, tight end to the right side. Tight left is Clark Kennington. Flanker right is McCullough. Hand over left guard, diving over the top of the line of scrimmage. Knoll out to the 32-yard line. Dropped by
the line and picked up a couple of yards.
Scots look at sidelines left, open field to the right side. Flank McCullough wide right. Knoll along with Waters in the backfield behind quarterback Stallenworth. They work from their own 32-yard line. Dropping to throw, Stallenworth, the left-handed heave across the way on the out pattern intended for McCullough.
Stallenworth's come out winging the ball.
Good sportsmanship is one of the goals of the University Interscholastic League. Diamond Shamrock salutes the league's ideals. 3rd and long, 32-yard line, Highland Park territory. Looking left, looking right. Stallenworth pins in, barks the count. Split backs behind him. Option. Far side. Theodore with the carry across the 40. Has the crease out to the 48-yard. Recorded spot at 44-yard line, Scott territory.
13-yard gallop for Mr. Theodore.
Theodore along with Null in the backfield. Stallenwork in his offense showed two tight ends, a flanker wide right. Option to the right side. First man through. Theodore again with the hand. Powers across the 45. Drives it to the... Theodore checks out. Checking into the Scott backfield is Lynn Waters in concert with James Null, the setbacks. Second down, 7 yards to go. 48-yard line. Scott territory. Stallenwork drops. Fires on the out pattern. Has his man in Conroe territory at the 42. First and 10, Tiger 42-yard line. Here's Highland Park, two tight ends, flanker McCullough wide right. Null along with Waters in the backfield. It's Null who takes the hand from quarterback Stallenwork, bangs it to the 40-yard line before he is really thumped down by defensive end Westergren. Doug Barnes, center 220-pounder out over the football. Here's Stallenwork, the 198-pound quarterback. Package of poise, ducking in, quick snap, reverse spin, fake first man through, pitch it to Null, running wide left, strung out very nicely and bumped yards to go. Highland Park. Third down and 8 from the Tiger 40-yard line. Call it a possession down for Highland Park. Stallenwork with the cadence, fakes on the draw, drops to throw, has pressure, skips out of it, rolls to the right side, still looking for people to throw, plants and throws, has Kennington inside the 15 at the 12-yard line. Incomplete pass in and out of the hand.
Here's Clements punting, Brad, and this is his specialty.
Nice number high pass from center, line drive kick, angling to the near sideline, touches down at the 10, at the 5, inside the 2, down at the 1-yard line. Conroe Tigers in some territory trouble. They'll go to work offensively from their own backfield, lined up in the end zone, sends wideouts right and left. Burks wide left, Sneed wide to the right side, drops to throw, quick drop, batted down. Defensive. The Conroe Tigers 10 wins and 3 losses. Highland Park 11-2 coming into this quarterfinal matchup. Wing back West is injured. We should see Mike Richardson checking into the ball game. 5'9", senior, 170-pounder. Richardson is wide to the right side. Quick drop, quick throw intended for Richardson at the 10-yard line. Incomplete. Good cover from Matt Johnston. Here's David White and the offensive crew out over the football. They work from their own 1-yard line. Inside hand, first man through. Placide with the football, knocked down at the 2, maybe able to stretch it out to his 3-yard line. Vihan, the defensive tackle, linebacker George C. doing some business. The long snapping. Deep for Highland Park. Steve Davis stands at the 43. Scots should be afforded pretty good field position. Line drive kick fielded on the fly. Fair catch called for by James. Scots will open up with Theodore Knoll. Split backs in the backfield. Two tight ends are Robertson along with Kennington. McCullough split wide left. That's the short side of the field. First and 10 play on the way from the Tiger 34-yard line. Long count at the line. Inside hand, Theodore picks his way inside the 32, drives it down.
Pick his way through. The hole was closed. He cut back against the grain. Got a little positive yardage.
Robertson tight end on the right side. Kennington tight on the left side. Split in wide right is McCullough. Stallenwork will option right side. Will hand it away. First man through, banging inside the 30, blasting down to the 27th end. A junior, 170-pounder for Conroe. Inside the 5-minute mark, period number 3.
Brad, 3rd and 4. Let's see if the Scotties go on the ground or go up through the air.
Josh Theodore, James Null in the backfield. Two tight ends, a flanker wide left. Stallenwork drops to throw, heaves down the near sideline, overthrows intended receiver McCullough by 5, maybe 7 yards. Incomplete pass, 4th and 4. Highland Park will look at that situation from their own 20 of the field. No angle on this one. John Stallenwork to hold, 165-pound senior Wayne Clements to try to kick it. The spot is down. The kick is high enough. Is it long enough? Long enough, but wide to the right side. No good. Penalty flags are down.
Brad, we had all types of commotion in the line.
Up of it, 10 and 7, and Clements just couldn't find the uprights from 45 yards out. Had the distance.
Well, Brad, the timing did not get the ball cleanly.
Here's the Conroe Tigers. They work from the 28-yard line, their own territory. Wide outs right and left. On the draw play, Placide with it, looks inside, finds it dark, veers to the left, now turns it up off a left tackle, fights it out to the 30-yard line. Anthony Placide on the carry.
Mr. Why he's not in, because when he's carried the football tonight, he's looked very effective. He turned a 3-yard loss into a 3-yard gain.
He is in at the fullback spot, shares the backfield with Tyke Tolbert. From the 30-yard line over the football, the Conroe Tigers, whistles blow and flags fly before the play is initiated.
Brad, we have movement at Conroe offensive line, and that'll cost the Tigers.
Owen and Schmidt operate at the defensive end. C. Giddenswood, the linebackers. Johnson Davis at the corners. Williams, Esquivel handle the defensive safety spots. 2nd and 12, 25-yard line, Tiger territory. Dropping to throw. White throws a shot across the way, intended for Burke's 35-yard line in Tiger territory.
This
ball game really started out with some offensive fireworks, has since settled to a defensive struggle. Wide outs right and left, straight drop, quarterback White plants throws on the near side, in and out of the hands of Brant Dozier, 35-yard line in Tiger. Conroe will be forced to kick it away to Highland. French, under no pressure, will get the kickoff. It's a high kick. Shimmering spiral fielded by Davis, 30-yard line, cuts it up, veers to the left, cuts it up to the 33 before he is buried by Conroe Tigers, leading the...
You can depend on. Take Diamond Shamrock gasolines, for instance. They're especially blended to give top performance in the area where you buy them. So you can always depend on getting the correct blend of gasoline for this climate every time you fill up at your Diamond Shamrock station. Stop in soon.
The 34-yard line in Scott territory, quarterback Stallenwork, scoreboard 10-7. Scots will look at sidelines right, open field to the left side. In that direction, split Wayne Clements. Tandem in the backfield. 2nd and 12 play on the way. Inside hand, having a crease is Theodore across the 40, tripped up and driven down at the 44-yard line. Josh Theodore on the carry. A little get up and go shown by this running game.
Counter dive between guard and center, and he was through the hole before the linebacker could react.
Kennington and Robertson, the tight ends. McCullough, flanker wide left side. Stallenwork, 1st and 10 Scots. They work from their own 44. 2:18 left to play, third period. Picking his way off a left guard is Knoll, the running back. Took the deal from quarterback Highland Park on top of it, 10-7. Twin tight ends, a flanker Clements, wide left. 5-2 look shown by the Conroe Tiger defensive crew. 2nd and long play. Stallenwork will option to the right side, hands it away to Knoll over right guard. Cracks it out to the 40. Initial shot, some mop-up work made by defensive.
The Scotties tonight with 13 carries, good for 43 yards, 3rd and 5, big play in a ball game.
Stallenwork sends McCullough to the right side. Wide left is Clements. Barking the count. Stallenwork drops to throw, has time, sets up the screen, has Knoll. Knoll has to go down on a knee to make the reception, 48-yard line. Lost 5, touches the kickoff from the 40-yard line. A line drive, nose up spiral, kicks out of bounds across the way at the 21, make it the 20-yard line in
Tigers in this third quarter. They had 10 at the half.
Anthony Placide shares the backfield with Tyke Tolbert. 1st and 10 play from the 20-yard line. Tolbert pitch sweep wide right, has the corner. 25 at the 30, 35-yard line. Tyke Tolbert wrestled down by Steve Davis at the 37, 17 yards on the pickup. Tolbert took the pitch in his backfield, turned on the jets and found a crease. 33 seconds, third period. Clock unravels. Wide outs right and left. David White and the offensive Tigers to work from their own 37. Again, pitch it in the backfield. Tolbert finds a crease out over right tackle across the 40, 45. Hammered down at the 40. Smith, as time expires, we're through 3 periods.
Last week's 14-13. These teams play these cliffhangers.
Here's the Tigers. They work from their own 47. 2nd and 1. We go to work, 4th period. Inside hand, Placide bounces off a tackler at the line of scrimmage, lowers the head, surges for an impressive drive, put some numbers on the board, go on top of this one, early third period. Junior center Jay Jenkins out over the football, ducking in under quarterback David White, 190-pound senior, stands 6'3", inside hand. Placide has a room through the 40, inside the 35, dropped at the 33-yard line. Good-looking run, 16 yards on the pickup from Anthony Placide. The very quick defensive end, Brian Owen, secures the stop for Highland Park. 1st and 10, 32-yard line, Highland Park territory. Conroe with the football. Placide gets the hand, window shops for daylight, sticks his nose in the offensive. Second and 6 call from the 28-yard line. Pitch it to Tolbert, running wide right, turns the corner inside the 25, bang down at the 21-yard line. Tyke Tolbert on the carry. George C. secures the stop. We had late help from Tom Nash, the defensive tackle. The first down.
Conroe winning the battle of the trenches.
From the right hash, the 1st and 10 play on the way. Inside hand, Placide finds nothing inside. Pinballs outside, drives it inside the 20 to the 8.
Brad, it's inside the 20. Here's the snap. Here's a Conroe penetration.
2nd and 6. The Tigers work from the Scots 17-yard line. Spot the football equidistant between the sidelines. Wishbone look in the backfield. Tolbert takes the pitch, turns the corner right side, gets a couple of good blocks inside the 15. Tolbert rambles down to the 10-yard line, Scott territory. Matt Delaney on the tackle for Highland Park. There's a timeout. The rest of our broadcast crew includes our statistician, Hal Ray. Bill Snyder is our spotter in the broadcast.
Battle of Placide, because he's been a wrecking crew running here in the 3rd quarter and early 4th quarter of ball play.
2 tight ends, Dozier on the right side, Brennan on the left side, full house in the backfield. Inside hand, Placide over left guard, not much doing. Maybe got down to the 8-yard line before some blue shirts were flying around. Charge left. Jay Jenkins, the center, he's a junior, leads the Tigers out over the football. 2 tight ends, very tight alignment. Wishbone look in the backfield. 2nd and 9 call from the 9-yard line. Placide over right guard to the 7, and that's all. Fumbled the football. No, check at the fumble. The quarterback, White, kept the thing. It was a fake to Delaney, led the charge for Highland Park. Late help from Steve.
Goal situation. We're looking at double tights in a full house backfield. Highland Park in a 6-5 goal line front.
Full house look in the backfield behind quarterback White. Will take the snap. Will pitch it to Sneed. Running wide to the left side. Turns the corner at the 5. Shirt-tailed out of bounds inside in for the touchdown. Sneed for the touchdown. Nearly got wrestled out of bounds by Johnson at the 1-yard line. Sneed able to keep his feet and dive into the end zone for the Tigers.
And Conroe back on top in our ball game by a score of 13-10.
The Sneed touchdown scamper triggered by a block from Anthony Placide. Here's Shoemaker to tack on the point after the spot's down. The kick is up, and Reed Shoemaker is good.
New conditioning, radio and soundproofing. You may not hear that engine knock and ping, which is robbing the efficiency of your way right now with 8:09 left in the game.
Byron Cox along with Steve Davis stand at their 5-yard line for the Scots. Shoemaker, the sidewinder from the right side, approaches, gets a foot into a line drive kick, touches down 12-yard line Scott territory, fielded by Cox at the 10, draws some attention. Oh my, is he nailed at the 6-yard line. Byron Cox had a tough time finding a handle on the squibbing.
Because the Scotties must travel 92 yards. They have 8 minutes left in the game.
Barnes, Smith, Turner, Williamson, and McCartan across the front for Highland Park. Waters, Null in the backfield. Stalin work, drops to throw, has pressure, is dropped in the end zone for the safety. Coming in untouched, defensive end Steve Wester stands Bubba Jacks at his own 39-yard line, make it the 34-yard line. Here's the kick from Clements as he loosens up the left leg. 8 minutes left to play. Conroe leads at 16-10 over Highland Park. The Scots with the free kick after the safety.
Scotty fans all on their feet below us.
Jacks, a junior, 165-pounder, deep for the Tigers. Nose up, shimmering spiral. Jacks camps under it at the 30-yard line, is bumped into by his own man, Shelby Lewis. At that juncture, the play is whistled dead. Time-consuming running plays, move the change down the field, eat up valuable time on the clock. 7:58 left to play, 4th period. Conroe 16-10, leaders over Highland Park. Placide takes the hand over left guard, cracks it out for one, maybe
touchdown that put the Tigers on top.
Spot the football at the left hash mark. Tigers show 2 tight ends, wing to the right side. Now a wing to the left, lone setback behind White, who drops to throw. The lanky 6'3", the senior in the backfield has some trouble, is dropped and sacked at the 29.
The penalty marker down, holding against.
And middle linebacker George C. talked it over with our referee, Bob Miller, his crew.
Give them an extra down or take the yardage. They'll set up 2nd down and 20. The ball inside the Conroe 20.
Wishbone look in the backfield. Placide, the fullback. It's Tyke Tolbert. Takes the pitch, gets a block from Placide, running wide to the right side, turns it up to the 25-yard line. Tolbert on the carry, the gain for 5, dropped by. This is a big play in this one. 3rd and 15. 25-yard line, Tiger territory. Here's White, the quarterback, ducking in under out of the pocket of our referee, Bob Miller, in the offensive backfield. A flag flies, delay the foot.
Close to 20. and gamble possession of the football here.
6:15 left to play from Texas Stadium. Third down, 20 yards to go. Tolbert in the backfield, hands it away to Snead. Wing back reverse, Snead running left, turns it up, 20, 25-yard line. Three-man tackle by Highland Park, way short of the first down. Needed to achieve his own.
Big punt off French's foot.
Steve Davis stands at his own 40 to return the Larrick French punt. Nice snap, rushes on French, gets the kick away, and he got off a jewel. Fair catch called for by Davis, executed at the 30-yard line. Scott territory, 5:38 left to play, fourth period. Texas
punt attempt.
Huge possession for the Highland Park Scots. They go to work from the right hash mark, their own 30-yard line. Waters along with Knoll. The setbacks behind quarterback John Stallenwork, who drops to throw, plants over the middle, has a man. Kennington at the 50-yard line, lowers the head, drives it down to the Tiger 47. Clark Kennington
at the Tiger 47-yard line.
Scots go to work in front of 10,371 on hand here at Texas Stadium. First and 10, 47-yard line, Tiger territory. Rolling left, Stallenwork wants to throw, airs it out down the far sideline, incomplete over the head of intended receiver Mike McCullough. Outstanding cover by Chip Driscoll, the corner for the
Permian next week. Permian winning over Midland Lee today, 15-14.
Second and 10 play, 47-yard line, Tiger territory, wide outs right and left. Stallenwork sets his Scots down. Knoll, along with Josh Theodore, setbacks behind him. Dropping to throw. Quick drop, quick throw, far sideline, incomplete, intended for Clements, 35-yard line in Conroe territory. Again, Driscoll defensing very nicely across.
Driscoll with Kelly and especially Bubba Jacks. That's fine. That's four fine, excellent defensive secondary men.
Third and 10, the five-man front for Conroe, ready to turn it loose and put some pressure on Stallenwork. Drops to throw, sets up the screen near side, has Knoll, 45, dropped at the 43-yard line. Knoll on the screen play was dropped by defensive end Steve Westergren.
We got a flag, Brad. It looks like it could be a major infraction against the Conroe Tigers. Oh, how that hurts with 4:57 remaining in the ballgame. 5, 10, 15 yards against the Tigers. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Stallenwork dumped after he got off the little screen pass. And once again, under the excitement of the situation tonight, Brad, these boys have to play discipline this last few minutes of the game.
Conroe first and 10, 32-yard line. Tiger territory. Scots operate offensively. Knoll, along with Josh Theodore, setbacks behind Stallenwork. Give it to Theodore over left guard, hurdles the line of scrimmage, drives it down to the 29-yard. It was Gills and Freeney out of the defensive front for Conroe, stuffing the action. Second down, let's call it a long 7 yards to go, 29-yard line, Tiger territory. Stallenwork will keep on the option left side, has a crease outside to the 26, driven down, wrapped up and wrestled down. Bubba Jacks, the sidelines left, open field to the right side, show two tight ends, a flanker to the short side of the field, split backs behind quarterback Stallenwork. Big play in this one, 3:30 left to play. Stallenwork with the cadence, reverse spin, will keep it off left tackle, fumbles the football, the loose thing retrieved across the way by a Highland Park Scot. I believe it was James Knoll, making Lynn Waters as a victim of these Conroe Tigers
by head coach Frank Beavers, their defensive coordinator Randy Emery, Scott and Frank Romero.
Oh my, 4th and 4 yards to go, 26-yard line, Tiger territory. Theodore, Knoll in the backfield behind Stallenwork. Scots will go for it. Pitch it to Josh Theodore, has the corner, left side, catapults inside the 20, bumped out of bounds at the 19.
But Theodore was airborne out of bounds. He picks up the first down, a Highland Park penetration.
We approach the 3-minute mark. First and 10, call it the 20-yard line in Conroe territory. Theodore, check it, it's Knoll along with Waters in the backfield. Stallenwork, quick drop, quick throw for Kennington. Bumped out, nearly intercepted by Jacks at the 10.
Was wide open on the release straight down the field.
There's a very quick drop, a very quick throw by Stallenwork. Second down, 10 yards to go. Scots looking sidelines left, open field to the right side. Two tight ends, tandem in the backfield. Motion from Clements from left to right in front of the backs. Reverse spin, Stallenwork rolls right, pitches to Knoll, turns it up, cut down at the 18-yard line. Flying around defensively, Jacks, the free safety, 165-pound junior.
Numbered, it's 3rd and long for the Scotties.
Call it 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Highland Park works from the Conroe 18-yard line. Flanker McCullough wide to the right side. Flags fly out of the pocket of a back judge, make it the referee.
He doesn't really have a favorite receiver. I guess you could say McCullough 2 catches for 26 yards tonight.
Here's the 3rd and 13 call from the 23 in Tiger territory. Scots with the possession, dropping the throw. Stalling work. Has tight end Kennington at the 10, shakes out of a tackle at the 8, drives it down to the 5-yard line. The first down was recorded. Highland Park Gold had to use all of it to go upstairs to make the reception. Inside 2 minutes, 1st and goal, 5-yard line, Conroe territory. Split backs behind Stallenworth to give. Stallenworth will keep, turns it up off a right tackle, drives it into the end zone. John Stallenworth for the Scott touchdown. Faked it to Knoll off a right guard, kept the thing off a right tackle, was able to scoot in for the 5-yard touchdown scamper. Try to tack on the point after. Will approach it from the left side out of a John Stallenworth hold. The kick is on the way, and he's good. New score, 1:43 left to play from Texas Stadium. The Highland Park Scots a 17, the Conroe Tigers.
Of course, that safety is a big situation now because if Conroe... But what a gutsy drive by these Highland Park Scots.
Well, the drive was highlighted by 2 outstanding receptions by tight end Clark Kennington. Clements has it teed. Highland Park will kick it away from our left to our right. The approach, the boot on the ground, still loose, fielded by Brennan, 32-yard line, Tiger territory, still on his feet, hemmed in, dropped at the 35. Bobby Brennan, junior, 100.
Receiver has been Talbert. Let's see what the Tigers can do.
The 6'4 senior signal caller ducks in under, drops to throw, plants, looks over the middle, has his man, 43-yard line, drops the football. Dozier, the tight end, 185-pound senior. Brant Dozier had the football for a moment, maybe heard some footsteps.
16, Highland Park on top by 1.
10-7 was our halftime score. The Highland Park Scots led it. We were scoreless in the 3rd period, but fireworks here in period number 4. 2nd and 10 call, dropping to throw. White has some time, looks right, throws to the right side, in and out of the hands of Sneed across the way, 48-yard line in Tiger territory.
Had the ball in his hands, but when he hit the turf, it's Shoemaker.
Here's the Tigers. Clock rests 1:29, 3rd and 10. They work from their own 34. Wideouts left and right. White drops to throw, has some time, plants, throws over the middle, has Burks near midfield. Burks drilled down at the midfield stripe. Bobbled the thing, played hot potato with it, came down and came away with it. Burks on the...
Tigers have new life.
George C. on the tackle for the Scots. Tigers look at sidelines left, open field to the right side. Dropping to throw, quarterback White has some pressure, finally gets the pass away, incomplete, intended at the 35-yard line for Dozier, the big tight end. Big pressure in the backfield from a defensive tackle, Tom Nash. Here's Jay Jenkins, 195-pound junior center out over the football, 2nd and 10 from the midfield stripe. White bends in, barks the count, takes the snap, backpedals to throw, fires on the near sideline, nearly intercepted at the 42-yard line, intended for Burks. Fine cover on the play, outside linebacker.
Here's the Conroe season. 3rd down and 10. Brad, 3rd and 10 at the 49-yard line.
Scaife left, Sneed wide to the right side. Quarterback White, quick drop, quick throw near sideline. Has Scaife inside the Scott 40-yard line. Drop him at the 38, covered by Tripwood, the outside linebacker for Highland Park. First down was realized. Timeout on the field called by the Conroe Tigers.
Oh, I'll tell you what, David White, he has a lot of confidence.
And quite a performer on the football field. He's the valedictorian of the senior class, a state-ranked golfer a 3 years ago. He won the state junior championship. David White, 6 the Conroe Tigers. They work with 53 seconds left to play. 4th period. 1st and 10 from the Scott 38-yard line. White bends in, takes a snap, rolls right, wants to throw, plants and fires across the way short of the intended receiver. Burks at the 27-yard line, Highland Park territory.
49 seconds remaining.
White sends Scaife to the left. Burks to the right side. White drops to throw, plants, throws across the way, intended for Burks. Reception can't be made at the 30-yard line in Highland Park. Being attempt at the reception.
Well, here, and let's see if David White has any miracles left in his back pocket.
Conroe sends Burks wide left, Sneed wide to the right side. Dropping to throw. Quarterback White has some time, throws for Burks near sideline, over the top, incomplete. They'll look at 4th and 10, 38-yard. 10, the 10 win and 3 loss. Conroe Tigers down to their last gasp of breath. 41 seconds left to play. Tigers out over the football. Penalty flag flies out of the hip pocket of referee Bob Miller. Looks like we may have a delay of the game. Penalty assessed against the Conroe Tigers out to the 44-yard line.
Hard to understand that, Brad. Apparently, the coaches on the sideline might have thought a timeout was called. Nevertheless, 25 seconds is when you have, how much time you have to get the ball in play once it's whistled. So a 4th and 15 now, and here's the Conroe timeout.
Take the opportunity to bid a very pleasant good evening to our listeners on KIKR radio in the Conroe area, KMMK out of McKinney, Texas, Radio OL Radio.
Well, Brad, let's try to surmise what Mike Barber and his offensive coordinators tried to work with David White. Checking him, he's 8 of 21, 111 yards. His favorite receiver tonight has been Tolbert. 3 catches for, looks like, 54 yards and the TD. You would think he might be coming out of the backfield. I see him in there with 1 seconds to go. Conroe with an excellent year, 10-3, the chance to keep things alive.
4th and 15 from the Scott 44. Burks wide right, Scaife wide to the left side. Here's White, the quarterback, dropping to throw, rolling right, planning, now throwing back against the grain. Up for grabs, incomplete inside the 20-yard line, Scott territory. Incomplete. Highland Park will take over possession, their own 44-yard line.
This is the last ball game to be played today. Of course, Permian wins. They face the winner of this ball game. It's Madison versus Beaumont French next week.
Stollenwerk and his Scots out over the football. He'll go down on a knee at the 41-yard line, a loss of 3 on the play. It's all academic from here.
Clock rolls with under 25 seconds. We won't get another play, Brad. They whistle it with 24. The clock should run out.
Up 10-3 coming into this one. Last year they won a district championship, were knocked out of the playoffs in the first round, finished the year at 9-2, 19 wins and 5 losses coming into this one for second-year head coach Mike Barber. Doug Barnes, the 220-pound senior center, out over the football. Under his Stollenwerk, takes the snap, goes down on the left knee. Penalty flags fly across the way. Stops the clock with 15 seconds left to play. Considerable chatter around the Scott 40-yard line amongst our officiating crew. Offsides, Conroe Tigers.
And that fine officiating crew we've had tonight. Referee Bob Miller, umpire Charles Dirtley. Head linesman Roland Hughes, the arm in a circular motion. The clock rolls. Let's hear it with the crowd.
The Scott faithful on their feet. They count it down. Inside 5 seconds, the time expires, and that's it. From Texas Stadium, the Highland Park Scots will advance to the semifinal round of Class 5A Texas High School football playoffs. The final score, the Highland Park Scots of 17 and the Conroe Tigers 16. We'll have the recap in just 1 minute.
Here's a tip on how to stretch your car's engine life, regardless of the temperature. When you start your car, allow a few seconds for warm-up. When the car is for a long period of time, oil settles to the crankcase, and it takes a few revolutions to splash the oil up into the working parts. Another way to give your engine long life is to use Diamond Shamrock Equiflow motor oil. Equiflow is one oil that flows like 2. A light oil that circulates fast when the engine is cold, and a heavier oil that takes care of lubricating chores in high-speed heat. Ask for it by name next time you change oil. Remember these 2 hints. Allow sufficient warm-up time and use Equiflow motor oil, the best of a family of fine motor oils at your Diamond Shamrock station.
Aftermath of this quarterfinal matchup between the Highland Park Scots and the Conroe Tigers from Texas Stadium. Highland Park wins at 17-16 over a very, very gallant pack of Tigers out of Conroe High School.
Well, Brad, some 10,371 fans saw what high school athletics is all about. 1 point, the ball game in our pregame show, Brad, that this was a club very similar in styles. Defense was the name of their games. They relied on turnovers. They had 2 fine quarterbacks, and I think we saw that exemplified tonight. First quarter, it was David White on an excellent drive. Stollenwerk takes his club back to even things up. A turnover gives Highland Park the lead. Then an excellent drive in the third quarter of play finally puts the Conroe Tigers on top. A turnover of sorts of safety. Looks like Conroe has a 6-point lead, maybe the game under control. But Stollenwerk the All-State candidate quarterback he is, drove his Scotties 70 yards, puts them in for the touchdown, scores the touchdown himself, and of course Clements puts the point after. 17-16. Brad, we couldn't be much closer than this.
Frank Beavers and his Highland Park Scots must be living right. Second successive one-point win last week, 14-13, the final over Bryan. Tonight a 17-16 win over the Conroe Tigers. It's the Highland Park Scots who will advance to the semifinals against the Odessa Permian Panthers.
Brad, let's take a look at the scoring summary as we have it. In the first quarter, Conroe took the opening kickoff, traveled 80 yards in 14 plays, where David White tossed an 8-yard pass to Tyke Tolbert, takes in the touchdown. The point